Here's the thing. When I moved to New York, so like after, because I was also like very booky, right? So like I was always studying. I've always been a worker. So it was like I, was studying in college. So it's like throw yourself into your studies to avoid life.
Right.
So when I graduated from law school and moved to the city, then I was like, oh, honey, I don't care. Now I'm going to have to go wild and crazy. Because like I was not even sexually, just like in life. So when I looked for apartments, the apartment that drew me into the city was one on Christopher Street.
Of course.
So, right. So as I decided that like this is the one I want, I was like, I kind of was like coming and living here. It doesn't necessarily mean you're coming out, but it pretty much does. Especially back then, it was like, the street to be gay.
Who did you just tell?
So then, like, when my father and sister came to visit, and I mean, here we are. I mean, Christopher Street really was the gay street back in the day.
I remember.
We would go to eat, and then, like, we were at a coffee shop, like, the next morning after they spent 24 hours in this apartment, and they were like, well, you have something to tell us, don't you? You're gay. So it really, in a way, it was a nice, easy way to come out.
They made it easy.
Yeah, like it was weighing on my mind of like somehow this has to happen. Because I mean, that's like, it's hard to be able to have to like, why don't straight people have to come out?
Well, I think nowadays they do. And their parents are very disappointed when they find out their kid's straight.
It's not. I think, even being gay these days is not, there's a lot more to it right now. So that made it easy. Now, granted, once I did that, I then had to tell so many people.
Now, how was your dad with it?
I think it was so obvious that they were okay. Not like so okay. You know what I mean? Right. Okay with a conservative Connecticut father.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Like, okay, like, what are you not going to be okay? It wasn't like you're disowned or nothing like that. But
Which a lot of people did experience back then.
Totally.
Right.
So I never experienced that, but it was always like, I just think it was don't ask, don't tell.
Right.
Like it wasn't like I sat there talking about my sex life.
Now, was your first real sexual encounter with someone that you were in a relationship with, or was it just some random guy?
Random.
It was random. See,
yeah.
I knew to ask.
Random, and it was before then. I mean, I was fooling around with guys before I came out. Yeah.
Well, okay, but I mean your first was a random guy.
Yes.
Okay.
Random. Someone that I was going to school in University of Connecticut, but I had a friend that went to Columbia. So when I came to visit my friend in Columbia, we went to, I don't know if it was like the Met or the MoMA, but one of the museums, and some like cute guy was like cruising me and I was cruising him. And so like I walked away from my friends and then I walked over to this person. He was like, take my number. Like, literally, this was like happening. Take my number and like tonight we'll go out for a drink. Mind you, this person was like 28, so also like 10 years older.
Right.
And I was like, oh my God, like this guy's cute. So of course, I also have family that lives in the city. So I told my friend like I'm having dinner with my cousin, which I mean, that's totally believable. And then like this is me like, and then I took a cab downtown. We went to like some bar on the east. Like here I am, 18 years old. I'm thinking like, he's like, no, if you're with me, you're going to get served. Because I'm like, how am I going to get a drink in this bar? And then we had a drink. And then we even went to like a movie. And I was just like, oh God, like let's get this over with. But then like during the movie, he was holding my hand that he's like, come back to my apartment. And like, I was like, okay, I'm going to stay at my cousin's tonight. And it was nice.
It was nice.
Yeah.
And did you ever see him again after that night?
No, but it's really funny because, like, I remembered his name, and then when I moved to New York City, I was like, I mean, this literally a million years later, I was like, oh, I should look him up because he was really cute.
Right.
And then, like, I did, but I never met back up with him. I don't think I ever reached out.
Now, did you feel badly that you didn't hear from him again?
No, I guess right from the beginning, I understood what a one-night stand was.
Okay, all right. You knew the assignment.
I knew the assignment. All I remember is, also this was a different time. I remember when we were hooking up. This is the first time I'm hooking up with someone.
Right.
We were hooking up, and after a while, he said to me, you know what? He said, I just need to tell you. Because think about it, like, you're living in New York, right? You're 28, and here's someone who's living in Connecticut 18. So you're more advanced. He said, you know what? You can't get AIDS by kissing, because I wouldn't kiss him.
Right.
Isn't that interesting?
That is interesting.
So he was like, here I am sheltered thinking like, oh my God, I'm hooking up with a guy, a stranger. Right. And yeah, I didn't want to kiss him. And then he, you know, having lived through it, because it was around that time.
Sure.
After it a little bit, then he was like, you know, and he was like, and I'm like saying to myself, oh my God, this guy is like actually reading my mind. That's exactly what I'm thinking.
Okay. So, all right. So it was safe sex.
Yep.
All right. Especially during that time.
No kissing, nothing like that. But yep, it was like, I was like, oh my God, this is great. Like, it's a real, like, I'm staying over in someone's bed, and he made me coffee the next morning. It was like,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. So
not bad for your first time.
Yeah, he was a gentleman.
Yeah.
So you have to forgive my naivete, and we're gonna dive deep here.
I'm sure we are. Guys, none of these questions are prearranged. There's nothing. I'm like, what did I agree to here today?
So, are there men who are tops only, bottom only? I don't quite. Yes, it does.
Well, I've been waiting for you to finish your conversation. Your question.
It's not as though you both sort of take turns.
There's a lot of things. There's tops only. There's bottoms only. There's versatile, which is both. And there are sides, which technically, which I always has existed, but it's kind of a new term. It just means neither. Like, you like everything but anal sex. Yeah. There are gay men that are in that category.
Which category are you in?
I knew you were going to ask that.
Of course you did.
You know, listen, somehow I don't mind answering this. I mind answering money questions, and I mind answering age. You know, I'm okay with neither, really. There's so many other things you can do.
Oh, so you're okay with no penetration?
Yeah. Things could go in your mouth. You could do lots of other things. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you find the majority of men are fine with that as well?
Well, there's more people in that category than you might think, honestly, like once you actually start talking to people. No, I think there's plenty of people that are total tops and just want to fuck, or total bottoms and just want to get fucked. Yes.
Okay. Because I would imagine, right, because between a man and woman, I think that when there's penetration, it just feels more intimate than everything else. So,
does it though, really?
I think so.
I mean, I could see that.
Yeah, I think so. I think the other stuff is just sort of all
foreplay.
Foreplay, exactly.
I get that. I do. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I get that.
Now,
I get it.
Have you ever been in love?
I don't know. What is love?
Oh, come on.
Are you in love right now?
I am in love right now.
But, like, I don't know. Like,
well,
I think the adult...
where you wake up thinking about the person. They're the last person you think of before you go to bed. When you're not with them, you miss them, or you feel a sense of responsibility for them and to them.
I think I was in love, but not really. Not like an adult version of love. It was more like infatuation, like you're